Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Lifeline for Daily Living. Yes, this is the place where you can find the answers to your mental health, relationship, and family questions. I'm your host, Jim Hewitt. Glad you've tuned in today. I think you're going to find today's topic very interesting, so I hope you'll stay tuned because we'll be right back. All right. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Lifeline for Our Daily Living. So glad that you've joined me. Hey, we're starting a brand new year. Here it is, January 1. Man, it just seems incredible that we're starting a brand new year. It just seems like yesterday that we were ringing in the current year, and here we are now in a brand new year. When you think about it, starting a brand new year means that often we can have a fresh start. You can't do anything about what happened or what didn't happen last year, can you? I mean, it's not like you can go back and have a do-over, right? You can't do that. This is an opportunity, I think, for a fresh start. It's like turning the page in a novel, and the novel is really your life and mine. It's an opportunity for new opportunities. It's a new hope, a fresh start. Maybe your last year was a lousy kind of year. I mean, it was just one thing after another, after another, after another, after another. Maybe your last year was filled with disappointments, was filled with discouragement, was filled with, disillusionment maybe. Maybe you started out last year, January 1, thinking how tremendous that year was going to be and all of the opportunities, and it just fell flat. Here's what I want to do this week and next week in this brand new year. I want us to think about a fresh start. How do you do that? How can you have a fresh start? Maybe not in your entire life. I mean, that's a tall order, but maybe just one or two things in your life that you can have a fresh start with. Maybe you've been distracted by the last year, and you're not very hopeful for this year to come. Maybe you've had a number of losses, whatever the losses might have been, and it's just been a lousy year for you. Well, this is an opportunity for you to turn the page and start fresh, a new chapter, a different chapter, a chapter that maybe can be filled with some successes this year, maybe just a fresh start, okay? And so this week and next week, I want to look at just some things that I think are really pertinent to starting a new year, okay? So I'm going to give you 5 this week and then 5 next week. 5 things just to kind of think about this week, this first new week of a brand new year, to think about how to start fresh, how to start with a renewed sense of excitement and enthusiasm and hope for this new year. Okay, so let's look at 5 this week, and then we'll look at 5 next week. Okay, number 1, think about this now. What is past is past. What is past is past. All of the disappointments of the last year are now behind you. Okay. Now you can choose, right? We all have choices. You can choose to bring those disappointments into this brand new year. We can all make those choices, but I'm going to ask you just to leave that in the past. Wipe all the disappointments just out of your mind. Okay. Start fresh. Put your head forward. You know, the Apostle Paul says tells us in Philippians chapter 4 that we ought to leave that which is behind and press forward to that which is ahead of us. Leaving that which is behind and pressing forward. Those things, those missed opportunities, those disappointments, those losses, you can't go back and redo them, right? They can't be changed. No amount of dwelling on them or worrying about them or fretting about them or wallowing in that will help. It just won't. In fact, it will even hinder you in this brand new year. So for just a moment, pretend like you have amnesia, okay? And you're just going to kind of, in your mind, you're just going to kind of set those behind you. The past is behind you, and now you have a fresh start. And then you can do that every month, every week, and every morning. You can just put that behind you. Now, this has to be intentional. You can't just get up and say, okay, well, something's going to happen. No, you have to be intentional about this every month, every week, every day of that month, putting those things which are behind me and pressing toward that which is in front of me. You have got 364 days in this year. What are you going to do with them? Some time ago, I did a podcast that I just simply entitled Carpe Diem. And Carpe Diem means seize the day. Seize the day. Well, maybe this is the time for you at the start of this new year to seize the year, to seize the day, to seize the week, to seize the month. That you could start with a new, just a fresh start, a fresh vision of what can be. But in order to do that, you need to leave the past in the past. Number two is think about how you define success. How do you define that? Is success defined for you in terms of financial gain? Is that success? Some of the richest people on the face of this planet are the most miserable people on the face of this planet. Some of the most successful, and I put that in quotes, successful people are some of the most loneliest people. And so how is it that you define success? Is it money? Or is it time spent with people that you love and people that you care for and lifting them up and they lifting you up? Is it about those experiences? One of the things that my wife and I do every summer is we take a major motorcycle trip. We typically go out west. You know, for me, all roads lead west, right? So we go out west, and I love the mountains. We love the mountains. We love the beauty and the splendor of all that. But it's not just going and seeing the mountains. It's the experience of getting there and coming back home. See, it's really, when you think about it, it's not the destination. It's the experience and getting to the destination. So maybe for you, success is helping people in there to lift people up and to experience life. The last year was maybe just a lousy year for you, and I get that. But how do you define success? Is it in having, one of the things that one of the movies that we watched over the holidays during the Christmas holiday was a movie that it's entitled "It's a Wonderful Life," and it's a wonderful movie, and it's got a wonderful message about what's really important and what's really successful. What does it mean to be successful? I'd invite you, even since the holidays are over now, to watch that movie. It's a really good movie, and it has a really powerful message. Listen, don't worry if your definition of success is different than other people. Let them have their definition. That's fine. But you have yours. And I would invite you in the first week of this new year to sit down with a piece of paper and write out just a short sentence, just one sentence, of how you would define success. In other words, you would say on your sheet of paper, write this out. Success for me is defined as, and then you complete that sentence. Success for me is defined as whatever that is. Okay? Is it defined in, if you're on Facebook, is it defined as to the number of Facebook friends that you have? Is it defined by the number of likes that you get? Is it defined by the number of followers that you have? Is it defined by the amount of money or the amount of property or the position that you hold in a company? The amount of money that you make? Is that what it is? So I'd invite you to sit down before this week is out, sit down and just write out a definition. My definition of success involves whatever it might be. Define success. Number 3 is to think about long-term, not just short-term success. Now, definitely, we need to think in this new year, we need to think about short-term leading to long-term success, okay? But and it's those short-term successes that lead to that overall long-term. So as you're sitting down and you're defining what your goals are for this next year, a year, 365 days, I mean, there's a lot that can happen, and a lot does happen. So you need to break that down into finer points. What is my goal, my long-term goal, my long-term outlook for success for the next 3 months? From January to April, what is that? How do I define? What do I look for? Because it's often said, if you shoot at nothing, you'll hit it every time. Think about that. If you shoot at nothing, you'll hit it every single time. And so don't think about the overall, a grandiose kind of goal, I want to change my life. Well, what does that mean? How do I do that? Break it down into small chunks. Create a vision document. And what I mean by that is just sit down, very simply, sit down with a sheet of paper and just go over just what is it that I want to attain over the next 3 months, over the next 6 months, over the next 9 months, over the next year. What is my overall goal for this year? And then break that down into smaller chunks. And then figure out a way, as you do, figure out ways that you can achieve that short-term goal leading to that overall long-term goal for the year. See that? So maybe your goal, and a goal for a lot of people, maybe your goal is to lose 100 pounds. Okay, let's just say that's your goal. Well, how are you going to do that? Are you going to lose that all at once? No. So I need to alter my diet in order to get to 100 pounds. I need to alter my diet. I need to eat healthier. I need to get enough rest. I need to be good to my body. I need to exercise. Those are the kind of things that I'm talking about as you list out. Now, it may take some time, and it needs to be given some thought. Remember, if you shoot at nothing, you'll hit it every time. And so you think about your long-term goal, but then break it down into smaller bite-sized chunks. Number 4 is I would encourage you to define what you can do in the coming year that will help build a foundation for those longer-term goals. For instance, maybe you've thought about going back to school. Maybe you've thought about changing careers and what that would involve. Maybe you have been thinking about, over the last year, you've been thinking about either buying a house or building a house, buying property, whatever it might be. What is that? Define what that is, and then write out what you want to do. And then when you reach that goal, then pat yourself on the back, celebrate, do something to celebrate. See, define what you can do in the coming year to build that foundation to achieve that goal. What are those steps that I need to take? And then finally today, number 5 is to maybe it's time for you to renew or to deepen some relationship. Maybe now maybe you've been dating, or maybe you've just gotten married and you want to take that relationship to a deeper level. Maybe it's time to do that. Maybe you've been holding off in taking that relationship to the next level. Well, maybe you've been thinking about proposing to that special person. Maybe you've been thinking about some way to deepen that relationship with your spouse or a family member. Maybe you've been thinking about bringing your relationship to the next level by sharing your dreams and your aspirations with that loved one. See, renew or even maybe there's been a friendship that's just been kind of severed and it's just kind of sitting there and nothing's been done with it. and you've kind of lost. Oh, maybe you text once in a while, or maybe you private message on Facebook once in a while, or maybe you Snapchat once in a while, but the relationship has just become kind of superficial. Maybe it's time to renew that relationship, that friendship. Maybe it's time to take it to the deeper level. Perhaps there's someone that you're, maybe a family member that you're currently estranged from. This starting of a new year is a wonderful time to renew that. And maybe they have wronged you in the last year. Maybe they have wronged you, but you need to take that step of initiation. You need to initiate, renewing that relationship and taking that relationship deeper. Relationships are one of the most powerful tools and powerful things that we can, as human beings, can experience. And when we are estranged from people, or when friendships or relationships have grown stale, or marriages have grown stale, man, this is a wonderful time of the year to just kind of step back and think about how do I want to renew that? How do I want to deepen that relationship? How can I get closer to my spouse? How can I get closer to my boyfriend, girlfriend? What do I need to do with that friend, that coworker, even that supervisor? What do I need to do to correct some of the things that happened over this last year? So number 5 here is to renew or deepen some of those relationships. Now, let me kind of just wrap up today. Now, remember, next week I'm going to talk about 5 more of these kind of things that you can do to start out this new year in a fresh way. The beginning of a new year presents great opportunities. Opportunities to reflect on successes that we've had and the challenges that we've either met or have not met. The challenges that we've faced over this last year. Living in the coulda, shoulda, wouldas of the past will ensure, listen to me now, will ensure that you will miss the opportunities that are in front of you. It's kind of like, think of it this way, it's kind of like driving down the highway at 70 miles an hour and looking only in the rearview mirror. If you do that long enough, the result's not going to be too good, okay? This is looking forward, as the Apostle Paul said, it's leaving that which is behind, forgetting that which is behind, I press forward towards the mark of the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus. Looking forward. Will it be easy? Probably not. Life just sometimes isn't easy, and maybe it's not meant to be. See, things either happen to you or for you. It depends on your perspective. If things happen to you, then you're always the victim. But if things happen for you, then you're always the learner. And you're learning from the mistakes of the past so that you don't repeat them. And you're gaining insight and wisdom looking forward. Will there be valleys and detours? Yep, probably will. I think about that in terms of going out west. Again, the journey is more important than the destination, right? And I think about, it could be just a straight stretch out to the mountains if we just took that, but you miss all the scenery along the way. Is there going to be valleys? Yeah. Are there going to be detours? Yeah. Are there going to be chuck holes? Probably so. But that's where you learn. Are there going to be unexpected circumstances that will arise? Absolutely there will be. But the new year offers a new opportunity for you and I to grow, to learn, to mature, to deepen our relationship, not only with one another, but with God as well. To look at the future with a sense of expectancy rather than a sense of dread. Think about that. To learn from our mistakes so that we don't repeat them moving forward. It's a brand new year. And the question, I think, is, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to squander it? Or are you going to face it with a sense of expectancy and excitement for what's ahead of you? The journey is more important than the destination. Well, I want to thank you for tuning in to this episode of Lifeline for Daily Living. If something I have said today has raised some questions or concerns for you, there are 3 ways that you can contact me. The first way is by phone to my office, and that number is 573-732-4575. Again, that's 573-732-4575. The second way is through my email. My email address is lifelineonline@hotmail.com. Again, lifelineonline@hotmail.com. A third way is if you're watching this by Facebook, you can private message me, and many people do that. They private message me wanting to set up a first-time appointment or to gain another appointment. I will answer you as quickly as possible and love to chat with you through private message. One of those or all 3 of those ways, I want to talk to you about the new opportunities that you have for this new year. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you right here next week on Lifeline for Daily Living.